Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy, and I'm here for my weekly update. I believe it's Tuesday, November 7th. Couldn't film on Monday this week because my husband was working from home, and I just don't want to talk to myself in the other room. So here I am. I have a little bit more to show today than I did last week. Not necessarily progress to show, but stuff. So let's just get into it. First off, I noticed when I was watching Sarah Little Snip's video, that right around the Haid retreat in October, like the 25th, 23rd, some of those days, there was a 50% off sale on the Heaven and Earth Designs website, and I follow them on Instagram, I follow them on Facebook, but somehow I didn't know about it. I'm not on Facebook that often, so I could have just not missed it. I mean, I could have just missed it. But because I was behind on Flosstube, I didn't see Sarah's video until the sale was over. So I didn't know about the sale during those days, and I've been waiting for a 50% off sale because I want to stitch Anne of Green Gables, the quick stitch version, on my 40 count gauze, and that will be a Stitch Mania start, so I don't need it immediately, but I'm only going to stitch like a tiny chunk of it, so I don't want to pay full price for the whole pattern when I'm not even going to stitch the whole pattern, so I definitely want to wait for a sale. I'm assuming there'll be more, but the high value sales are usually short-lived, so if any of you hear of a 50% off Heaven and Earth Designs sale in the next few months, hit me up. Send me a private message on Instagram, comment on a video, somehow let me know because I would love to run over and grab that while I can. That would be amazing. Let's see. This week I kind of got into a little organizing, planning mood for, like, I had a super stitchy birthday this year, as I've shared with you, and lots of presents from family and Flosstube for my birthday, lots of stitching goodies, lots of sprinkles, and they were all just kind of piling up in my closet and not really organized, not really separated out into categories. Like, they were still kind of in their packages from who got me what, and so I decided to go through and like put the patterns with my patterns and floss with my floss, and like just kind of put everything away in with my normal stash so that that stack was taken care of. It was starting to get so tall and slippery that it wasn't staying where it should. So I was like, okay, this needs to get fixed. And I had also been thinking maybe in the new year I want to organize my stash a little bit better. Because right now I have a big box filled with kits and mirabilias and a few other random patterns, and I have like couple bags. I have a shelf full of magazines and books and charts, a lot of which were just gifted to me when other people gave me their stash, like my grandma or people at church or, whoever have given me stuff. So there's a lot of old things in there. I've gone through them every once in a while and kind of been like, yeah, I still like enough stuff to keep, to keep these things, but I've been thinking of going through again and reorganizing like by categories to buy like those magazine holders so I can have like categories of each type of pattern, and maybe even do what Michelle Bendy Stitchy is doing and go through the old magazines and pick out just the ones I want to stitch and give away the rest. So there's some things I want to, I liked Stephanie, Miss Oh So Crafty, how she had things organized by theme. Some of my patterned leaflets and things are organized more by type, where it's like all the mini stitches, like bread covers and borders and handkerchiefs and smalls are like all together, and then larger projects or books or whatnot, or maybe designers even. Like I have all my Paula Vons are together. But Stephanie had things organized more by categories, like fall, Halloween sort of stuff was together, and I don't know if she has just seasons or if she has like fancy ladies are all together. I'm not sure what categories, all the categories she uses, but I was thinking that could be a fun way to organize. So if I get around to that in the new year when the, spring cleaning bug hits me, not going to happen this year. I may have some random small giveaways, just like Michelle has like just fold it up in an envelope and pass the stash. So I might do a little bit of that in the new year, and get some. Oh, and that the other thing, as I organize, I might share with you like each category. Like if I pull out all my flower patterns or all my fancy lady patterns, I might have like each category can be shared at the end of a video so that you guys can see some stash, because there's just too much to do it all in one video. But that was something I thought of too. As I organize, I can share my stash in chunks. So that seemed like something fun to do next year. The other thing that I did with the stash is I decided to bobbinate my color and cotton. These are gassed that I have, and these are a few of the DMCs that I need for my December Joyful World. But these are all the color and cottons that A&P gifted me for my birthday. Gorgeous! I'm so torn, guys. Like, I really am considering signing up for the Thread of the Month Club. But I have a hard time buying things fabric and thread-wise that are not specifically earmarked for something. Like, that's really hard for me to spend the money on something that I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I could find something down the road and find a pattern and wish I had certain colors, in which case a Thread of the Month Club would be helpful. But it's hard for me to just blanket spend money on something that I don't know how to use or when I'm going to use it or what it's earmarked for. It's just hard for me. So I still haven't done that yet. I'm not sure if I will, but they're a little bit washed out in this video, but super pretty. And because I decided, I had on Instagram, I was picking threads for a couple patterns from these that I was gifted, and I had them all like still on their little cards and loose. The threads were still loose like they are when they come from Angela. And that makes for a lot better show and tell, and I didn't realize I should not have bobbinated these until after I shared my plans on my video. But oh well, too late now. So the first plan, which will be started sometime, hopefully, before the end of the year, is Falling Leaves by DMC. This was it was a free chart. I think it's no longer available, but it was charted for DMC color variations floss, because that was just like their way of showcasing their new threads, I think, back when they were brand new. I don't necessarily have those colors, nor do I really care about the color combinations that they chose. So instead, I chose, for these little swirly bits, I'm going to do Color and Cotton's Flagstone, which is fun. And then the leaves, I'm going to do Eat Your Greens and Rust Orange, and I think also Antique Gold. I think those were the ones that I had chosen. So all together, that looked really fun, because they are supposed to be fall leaves. So these three for the leaves, and then this for the swirly bits. So I thought that would be pretty fun. On my 40 count gauze, which I've never stitched on before, it'll be 1/1 half stitch, because that's really the only thing you can do with that. Sorry, I had to tickle my throat. The other one I kitted up with Color and Cotton was The Teacher's Job by Jodery Designs. I'll be stitching this for my daughter's preschool teacher, and she doesn't, Teacher Appreciation Week is like the end of April, beginning of May, but I will be starting this before January 18th because I'm going to use it in Year of Whips because I know I'm going to finish it next year. So for this one, I chose, should keep this up here, I chose Big Blue for the letters. I thought blue letters would be good. And black currant for the butterfly, because my daughter loves purple, so it's got to be a purple butterfly. I thought this lighter Earth Day one would be good for the caterpillar. And let's see, Quarter Horse for the sticks, Eat Your Greens for the leaves, and what else did I do? What was the cocoon? What did I settle on? I might have settled on Antique Gold for the cocoon. Ah! Floss run away. Antique Gold again for the cocoon, and I think that might have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 different ones. Yeah. So those are the 6 that I chose for that one, and I'm really excited. I chose some antique white 18 count Aida that I got on clearance at Joann's for this, so it's nothing super special as far as fabric goes, but so there's those colors all together. I think that'll be pretty. The lady, the teacher is more not a frilly teacher, like lady, and she likes to rock climb and go camping and you know all that. So I didn't want like lots of like make the color, the words hot pink or something. Like she just isn't a super girly girl. So these colors I think will be really nice for her aesthetic and really, really, really pretty to work with. So I'm really excited about that. Let me put these back. And I have these all bobbinated and ready to go if I need them for something else. And I thought it was really funny. I said the word bobbinating to my mom and sister one time recently, talking about all of these, and they just laughed hysterically. I guess they have never heard that word, and it just tickled their funny bone. They thought bobbinating was the funniest word they'd heard in a long time. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Some of our terms are hilarious to people. So let's see. Next I will show my gift I received this week. Some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have already seen this. It's a Pass a Stash package, and I received a lot more than I was expecting to receive. Belinda, Aussie Stitcher, sent me a message a few weeks ago and asked if I was interested in the Lavender and Lace Celtic Ladies patterns, because she had all 4 and had decided she was never going to stitch them and wanted to know if I'd like them. And as you heard from my last week's video, in general, lavender and lace patterns are not as much of a favorite as Mirabilia's. I do have a few of the lavender and lace patterns I do like. And I was honest with her at the beginning. I said, well, I don't know if I want them, because back when I was choosing which fancy lady seasonal set to stitch, I chose the Mirabilia ones because I preferred them much more than the lavender and lace ones. And I've already finished spring and autumn and almost Christmas of the Mirabilia Queens. I still have the 2 other patterns in my stash yet to start. But that's I really love those ones a lot more. So I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, I could take them, and if I decide I don't want to stitch them, I can pass them on to somebody else. And she just went ahead and wanted to send them to me anyways, even though I was hesitant. And then like a day or 2 after her initial email, I was thinking about it, and I had a light bulb moment. Like, I've been enjoying seeing occasional people who've done round robins who have made like borders around and just doing a portion of the fancy ladies. Mondot Stitches, Diane, she has one that she did, that she's a round robin she started that has a bunch of different portions of the ladies. And I've seen Sarah Little Snips is doing one all by herself that's Joan Elliott, like Faces of Joan Elliott or something like that. So that concept, and I don't think Sarah's is a round robin, but that collage concept is really has appealed to me, because there are some designs that I don't want to stitch the whole thing. They're just too big to take all of my time. And there's not enough time in this world for all the stitching that I want to do. So you got to cut corners sometimes. So what I was thinking, well, I could just crop those seasons, put them all on one page, and just keep the upper portion of like her head and torso and whatever she's holding, you know, and have all four on the same page. Two of them I'll probably mirror image so they're all facing each other. And so once I decided that, that made me excited to receive these. I will probably work on them in 2019. Because I don't know how to plan ahead, right? So I already have too many 2018 plans going, so the thought of starting these right away, just no. I have too many other things I've already planned for. But I had thought this could be a good weekend project in 2019. Because it's sort of small, you know, and I could work on each lady for the 3 months of that quarter. And 3 months worth of weekends would probably be enough to finish, you know, whatever little portion I'm cropping. And these Celtic ladies have borders and whatnot in the pattern, so I could somehow take those borders and create my own little frame for each one out of the borders in the pattern. So that's my thought, and I'll probably need to take some time next year to chart it out. I might even put it in my pattern software, so I can actually have it all on one paper. I'm not sure though. I might just, you know, copy them and switch them around and just call it good. But we'll see. We'll see how detailed I get with it. So I was expecting these patterns, and I get this enormous package from Australia from Belinda, and I was like floored at how much she sent. And so it was very, very jaw-dropping and speechless. You know, I feel so loved by this community, and I don't quite know how to respond to that. So anyways, this is just amazing. So I'll show you the patterns in case, I'm sure most people have seen these, but here's Autumn, and here's a little needle minder. She sent me 4 needle minders as well. And she told me later that she picked them based on projects that I'm currently doing or have plans to do. So I'm guessing she picked this one because of the the Dragon Ride Teresa Wensler pattern I'm going to start in February, which is perfect since my son, who I'm doing it for, loves orange, so it's even the right color. And here is Summer, the Summer Queen. So yeah, I somehow would have to make it big enough that I could fit whatever she's holding. Autumn, she's not holding anything, and I've seen the conversion with the leaves, so I'm not sure if I want to do that conversion. I might. But there's her with her basket and a gorgeous butterfly needle minder. Oh, so many pretty ones. And here's Spring with her bouquet and all the purples. And a happy daisy sunflower. Look at that. Very cute. And of course they like to stick to each other. And then Winter. And this really pretty pink butterfly needle minder. Possibly my favorite of the 4. I really like that one. So what I was noticing too, which is cool of Lavender and Lace to do this, is all the ladies have a slightly different skin tone, which I don't know if any of you realized before. So Winter has dark skin tone, dark hair, which goes well with her white dress. Spring is very fair. Summer has like a little bit darker hair than Spring, and Autumn's is red. So they're all slightly different. So I thought that was nice that they weren't all the same. So that'll be even prettier to have them all together on one. To have them all on one piece. The other thing that she sent that apparently I didn't realize this. Some of these patterns call for, not that one, I think it's Autumn and Summer. Autumn and Summer have needle paints floss that they call for. This one has purple, but it doesn't look like it's those ones. And she has the needle paints floss for these. So these are cotton flosses created by Marilyn Levitt Emblem, who's the designer of Lavender and Lace. Was the designer. So there's all the purples that go with these patterns. So, wow. So not only did I get the patterns, but I got 4 needle minders and the threads that are special that go with those patterns. There's also DMC and Mill Hill beads, and I'll have to wait and see how many beads I would need because, and Krynic, I think I'll talk about that in a minute, because I don't know like where I'm cropping how much I'll actually end up using. Anyways, speaking of Krynic, I usually say Krynic. And Michelle Bendy Stitchy was saying she heard of somebody else who had toured the Krynic factory and heard from them that they say it's supposed to be said Krynic from the manufacturer. That's how they say it. So I'll try to retrain myself to say it properly, but it's going to be hard because I've been saying it wrong for like 20 years. So, and then we gotta have some Tim Tams from Australia. So thank you. I visited Sydney a couple years ago and we tried them there. I have seen them in the grocery stores here, which is amazing, but I don't have them that often. So this was fun. I got some Tim Tams. And these look so good. And I haven't opened them because we just had Halloween, so we are not lacking in candy at the moment. But these look so good. So as soon as I share them in the video, they're getting opened up and dumped into our candy bowl because my husband and I are both excited to try these. These are called Caramello Koala. And they have chocolate with smooth flowing caramel in between, like in the middle. We're caramel people, so this is exciting. And it's Cadbury, so it's gonna be good. So anyways, thank you, Belinda. That was like way more than I expected to receive with a Pass the Stash package. So that was an exciting... Oh, and speaking of Belinda, she is working on Adia the Garden Fairy. She calls it Ada, I think, and Andrea I Heart Cross Stitch was saying Adia. I'm curious how Nora Corbett would say it. I've heard there's a Sarah McLachlan song where she says Adia is how she says it in the song. So that's how I've been saying it. I'm curious to see what Nora's like intention was when she named her that spelling, like how she calls her. Anyways, I have her. You would have seen her in Pass the Stash. Belinda is working on her, and she's got like from here down all the stitching is done and it looks amazing, and she's headed for a finish this year, I think, is her goal. Every time she posts a picture on Instagram, I want to run in there and grab mine and work on mine again. Especially because her dress is long, but it's not as wide as Royal Holiday. So I'm like, well, maybe it won't take that long. It might be more like a mermaid because it's skinny. And I remember when I did Midsummer Night's Fairy, I don't remember the dress being ridiculously, obnoxiously big. So I think the fairy dresses are a little bit more doable. I already have all the good stuff for it. All the treasures and beads and krynic. And I will show you where I'm at with it, because I want to, and I want to bring it out and show you again. I think this is probably called for fabric, so it would probably be, it feels like a Zweigart Belfast, so it's dirty linen, probably. And this is as far as I have gotten, so not as far as Belinda, but that's as far as I've gotten on it. So there's already some blending filament and beads in her wings, because my mom wanted to see what the wings were going to look like. So this top corner of the wing is all done. These back straight stitches are krynic straight stitches. Anyways, so because of you, Belinda, I'm going to switch out my plans for 2018 to be, I'm going to work a couple weeks on this one instead of Ashley's Roses next year. So the weeks that I had planned to work on her, I'll work on this instead. Because you just made me want to get it out again and love on it again. So that's going to be fun. I like that one. So that's her with all my goodies. All the goodies. So thank you for that, Belinda. Thank you for your present and thank you for your inspiration. Let's see. I don't think I need that anymore. What's next? So I have things written down, but they're not necessarily in a very good order. So I guess before I start my whips, I have one more thing to share. I dyed my fabric this week, and I again shared it on Instagram, so you've already seen it sort of there. I didn't get a chance to take a picture until it was really a lot later at night than I'd hoped for. The sun had already gone down, so I'm not sure how the color of the threads at least didn't show up quite as well as I had hoped in the picture. But I am very happy with my first attempt at dyeing fabric, and I guess it's not an attempt, it's my first successful time dyeing fabric, because it turned out really well. On the RIT website, I looked up all the different tips that they had regarding how to make your fabric dark, because I wanted this fabric to be dark, to be like a night sky. I didn't want some pale blue nonsense. I would have used that for something else, but I wanted this fabric to be dark, so that those star beads would pop. And so they recommended the stovetop method to be dark, which I didn't have the means to do. I only have one big pot for my stove, and I use it for cooking, and I didn't want to have to buy a new one if I didn't know if I'd like dyeing, or have to worry about properly cleaning the one I have so I could cook with it again. So I had already purchased like a disposable aluminum pan, like you would roast turkeys in or something, and was going to use that. But that was going to be on the counter. So what I decided to do is I put it in the oven on a low temperature for I think it was like 170 degrees, the lowest an oven can go, really. It was in the pan with the water, and I would just leave it in there for 5 minutes, take it and stir it, because I've also heard stirring it minimizes the mottling. It makes the dye more even if you stir it regularly. So I would set the timer for 5 minutes, stirred it, set the timer for 5 minutes, stirred it. I had 10 to 30 minutes, they said, for dyeing, and the longer it's in there, the darker it will be. So I did 30 minutes of sitting, plus the stirring time, so probably 35 minutes total. It was in the dye bath. And then, so it was staying warm, because the RIT people said warm water is good for the dye working and taking. What's the other thing? You added salt, you added dishwasher detergent to the dye bath. I was like, all the things. And then I bought dye fixative so that it wouldn't all just rinse out after I was done. So after I finished with the stirring and cooking, I put it in hot water and dye fixative and stirred that for 20 minutes. It was actually more like 15 minutes because my container was starting, the different container I had the fixative in was starting to leak. So I quickly just dumped it out and figured I'm good. 15 minutes is plenty of time. Once I got that cleaned up, I started rinsing my fabric. And it had a little bit of dye come out, but it stayed dark. And I was so happy. So I rinsed it and washed it in warm water with detergent. And rinsed and rinsed and rinsed, always in warm water. And it never, eventually it was just clear. And so it was, I feel safe using this, even stitching in hand. I feel like it's not going to run or bleed or get on anything. And it's dark. So here is my fabric. No, it looks better down here. Yeah, there it is. That's true. This is denim Rit dye in the bottle. And it's a little wrinkly still. I might try, I ironed it already, but since it's linen, it really likes the wrinkles. So I think what I might do is get it wet again and then iron it immediately and see if I can get more of those wrinkles out. But yeah, when I hold it up here, the dye or the color fades. So down here is good. This is perfect. Like, it's not as dark as navy, but it's really dark. And I think all of these lovely bead colors are going to look amazing on it. So I finished my conversion as well with the DMCs. This is Stargazer, by the way, if anybody hasn't seen it. So this is what this is going to be on. And here's all her beads. So these over here are the ones that are, these three are the stars. So I think that's going to be really pretty. And these are, all of these are in her dress. So these two are converted bead colors, and I've also converted her jacket to be burgundy and her ribbons to be gold in her hair as well. Her hair I've toned down so it's not dark brown, it's going to be light brown. I've taken I think there were 4 shades of brown in her hair, and I kept the 2 lighter shades and used my pattern software to figure out that they used hazelnut brown, I think. And so the 2 lighter shades were hazel, so I went and found that my program lets me know the proper DMC like name for each color. So I typed in hazel and found that there were, again, 2 more shades lighter than that, so I picked those out, and they look really good. So I have 4 shades of brown for her hair that will be lighter and will pop better on this fabric and won't blend in. So that was my plan for Stitch Mania. I don't want to stop. I don't want to wait till May to stitch on this. I want to see how it looks. So we'll see. I have too many things right now to start anything. I have a lot of deadlines, self-imposed deadlines right now, but I want to start this so bad just to see what the threads look like on this fabric. This is 32 count originally, MCG Textiles. I measured it post dye, and it's now, I think it's like slightly smaller, like 33 by like 36 or something. So it's a little bit uneven, but it's not a big deal to me. And slightly tighter. But something I thought was funny is the sewing thread I used to serge this must be polyester or something, because it did not take the dye. It's still pretty white. And on the RIT website you'll see polyester doesn't take dye unless you have a special kind of dye. So I used the all-purpose bottled dye in the color denim, which was the second darkest color. Navy is the darkest blue they had, and then denim was the next darkest. And it does look like blue jeans. So, but in a good way. I think it will be super fun on that first Stargazer. I'm really excited to work on it. So that was a success. So there you go. I may, if I don't know. Like, it was fun seeing the fabric change. It was kind of a process, you know, but if I had figured out, if I had, like, if I fine-tuned the process, it wouldn't be as bad. Obviously, it was my first time. Not that I'm necessarily going to go down this road, but if I were to want to dye more, would there be an interest in solid colored hand-dyed fabric? Because I am not an artist as far as like playing with color and doing modeling and mixing splotches, and that's just not me. I wouldn't have a clue of what to do to make good fabrics for that. But I personally like to stitch on solid colored fabric, and I know some other stitchers prefer those to heavily modeled fabrics. You can buy a lot of fabrics already a lot of colors already in like straight from Zweigart 123 stitch that are solid. But there's some colors like this that I couldn't find. So I'm just curious if there's a market out there for solid colored hand-dyed fabric. Because that's something that's a little bit more structured and doable for somebody of my inclinations, I guess. So I'm not sure if I want to go down that road, but I just thought, would anybody even be interested in hand-dyed fabric that's not modeled? So I don't know. Curious. So on to my whips. I did work on my frosted pumpkin piece itty bitty little bit. I did not have hardly any stitching time this weekend. And as it was, I finished the one color that I was working on this weekend yesterday on Monday, just so that I could say I finished a color. So yeah, it's busy time right now in our household. Where is that? So I got the rest of that dark gray that I had started last time. Here's what it looked like last time. And here's what it looks like now. I got the rest of the dark gray tree and mountains, little peccary feet, hooves, and rock tumbleweed thing right here. His little fin. So that's all I got done. At the rate I'm going, I originally wasn't sure if I wanted to include this in Year of Whips because I didn't want to not work on it when I could work on it and drag it out longer than it needed to be drug out in order to finish it after January 18th. But at this point, it's looking highly probable that that will happen anyways. The last clue comes out December 15th, and if it's taking me potentially more than a month to finish the clue, I'll probably be just after January 18th trying to finish it anyways. So this is probably going to go in Year of Whips because I know it's going to be finished. And I can sub it out if I think I'm going to finish it early, or just put it down for a week and then finish it right after Year of Whips starts. So that's the plan for that one. Still think it's cute. I just have a whole bunch of non-stitching stuff that our family's working on right now. And I wanted to work on Temperature Garden to get that cut up, and so yeah, there just wasn't enough time to work on that this weekend. Speaking of Temperature Garden, finally getting into the fall colors. This is coming along. I'm starting the bottom row now of flowers. So here is what it looked like last time. And here it is now. Curl around the paper there. So since I saw you or since you saw this last, I think I did this flower, which ended up being not as hot as I thought it would be. One of these mild 90s petals was supposed to be 102, and then when all said and done, it didn't actually get that hot. So it was warm, but not blazing. So there were no pink petals like I expected. And then the following week, it was immediately back going down into low 70s or high 60s for the last couple weeks. So it's finally feeling like fall. And I had a comment on my Instagram this morning that they were amazed at the thought that 70s and 60s would be considered cool for fall, that it had been in the 20s where they lived. But it is mellow and mild, but it's a lot cooler than it has been, because these hot petals, these are the hottest petals, that means it's over 111. So it gets hot here. And so when you get down into where the highest it gets is 68, like, whew, that's cool, that's refreshing, that's crisp. The mornings are in the 40s and 50s, and it's just beautiful. It's so refreshing and nice. And so that's fall for us, and I'll take it. We even had a few sprinkles on some of the mornings, and on Sunday, some of the weekday mornings, I think there was some misting, and then Sunday there was actual raindrops when I was driving to church in the morning. And I'm usually using my little butterfly needle minder when I work on this one, because it's colorful and goes really well with all these cute little flowers. So, what was I going to say? Oh, but it's too big to fit into this itty bitty little mini wrapping paper tube. It technically fits, but when it's all wrapped up in the fabric, it doesn't fit in there. So I take it off when I have to roll it up to fit into my tiny little tube that I have for it, which just barely fits in there. There, you can't really even see. There it is. So there's that one. That is, again, I never remembered the fabrics on a lot of these. That is 32 count white linen 1/1. Frosted Pumpkin one is on 18 count tan or beige. I think it's beige maybe. Ada 2/1. And I have not yet worked on this at all. Still unstarted. Don't know when I'm going to start it. But I thought I would share that with you. It's not forgotten. I just have other plans that I need to accomplish first. It will get done eventually. Even if I have to work on it in December, I will work on it and finish it before the end of the year. Ideally before December starts, but I'm not sure. It depends on how long this beauty takes to finish. So this is Royal Holiday, and I had somebody ask, I think, Kindred Stitcher. I forget your name. I'm blanking. She asked me on Instagram what fabric I'm using, and I'm using called for fabric, I think. It's most likely Witchell Chestnut Linen. There's 2 recommended on the back, but this does not feel like a Zweigart. This feels like a Witchell. So I'm pretty sure this is Witchell Chestnut. So here's what it looked like last time. And here's where she is now. So close. So close. Alright, I'm back. I had to clear some space off my iPad. But I was showing you Royal Holiday. And Lisa Stitching and Such was commenting on Instagram that between me and, or maybe it was YouTube, me and Jessie Marie, I think because of maybe finishing Faces of Fairy recently, and Ann P, who's working on a finish for Starweaver, that we are putting the rest of you to shame. I don't feel like I am, because this is huge and gorgeous, but I feel like I'm going really slow. And I started this probably 12, 13 years ago. I was looking back at my like month in review Instagram posts that I do, and I started working on this year in July, when I was up here still. And so I've done like from here down, but it's taken me half the year. And a lot of those were just 1 week a month, and I now am working all of October except for my November Joyful World was on this. And now most of November also is going to be on this. I guess I'll show you closer. And I'm still not sure if I'll finish by the end of the month. I might. I have, I did a little bit of gray in here, and a little bit of gray started here. All of the burgundy is finished. All of this brown stitching is finished. I've started in on the Krynic that's outlining this. There's a darker Krynic right here. And this light color I ran into a problem with. I'm running out of it. And I still have a little bit more to go on this part. All of these little baubles will have some of it in there. And then there's another ribbon that I will be stitching in here that is those two colors of Krynic will be the actual stitching of the ribbon. So down here at the bottom, that's all bling. All of it. So I had, here it is. I already had to get another whisper thread because I was running low. And I have discovered I'll have plenty of the darker color Krynic, but this one is all I have left of this. And because I have so much like actual thick stitching, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna run out. So they told me on the thing that on the pattern you need 2 of this color and 3 whispers. So I don't know, when I kitted this up was ages and ages and ages ago, more than a decade ago. So I don't know if I didn't get enough or if I rated it for another project and then now I'm running a little bit short. Same with the whisper. I don't know the story. I went to Joann's, did not bring this with me like a moron. This is 002J. And they had 002. I'm like, oh, how much different could the color be? Maybe the texture's a little bit different, but the color will probably be the same. Nope. It's not. This one is much more yellow. This one, you can see it's, when you look close at it, you can see the like the fibers. Okay, please just wait. You can see the fibers like inside the metallic, if that makes any sense. And this is a lot more consistently yellow and brighter yellow. Okay, so I was talking about Krynic, and I ran out, and I don't know why I ran out, but I don't trust that this will be enough for what I have left to stitch with. So I've already kitted up everything I got for my birthday that I'm planning to start soon. So I was like 1 spool of Krynic. My LNS didn't have it. I emailed them. They didn't have it in stock. So I had to make an order. I wasn't sure what to do. I consulted my husband because I was like, should I just buy something random? I already have so many patterns already that I want to stitch. I don't really feel like I want to buy any more right now. So he suggested buying stuff for my kits, for my shop. So I ended up buying needles because I went and looked for some fabric, and the fabric I wanted was out of stock, and then a smaller cut would have pushed the shipping even higher above where I was trying to make the shipping worthwhile. So I ended up getting needles because they're lightweight also. Pardon the lawnmowers and leaf blowers outside. If you can hear that, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I made an order. Should be here in a few days. So hopefully I'll finish that. However, I'm putting this away for a few days. Don't get too nervous. I have Whisper right here I need to finish. I have Krynic beads in this area and still some DMC, Krynic, and beads all and Whisper all down here. And that's all that's left. So that's all I have left. However, my secret stitch is coming due, and I need it done in a week or two. So, I just working on that in the car was making me a little bit nervous, and at the amount I had left and the amount of time I was devoting to it. So, I may end up, yeah. So far, I'm working on it during the week this week, at home as well. So for Royal Holiday, I just found out I might not need it for a little bit longer this morning. So we'll see if I need to, how much I actually need to do it at home. But at this point, I was planning to put Royal Holiday away for a few days, finish that up at home so that I can get that done, because that is more important. Royal Holiday is a personal goal that I want to finish. Frosted Pumpkin is a personal goal that I want to finish. Temperature Garden is a personal goal that I want to finish. Temperature Garden has a little bit more motivation because I do want to share my finish in my shop. But this other gift, like, that's got to happen. I don't want to push it longer. So, that's the one deadline that actually matters. So that gets precedence. So, you may or may not see update on this next week. I hope you will. I hope it won't take me that long to finish my secret stitch, or that I will decide I have enough time just in the car to finish it, and then I can pull this back out during the day at home. So we'll see. I would love to finish this as soon as possible because I have other things I want to start. I want to start Heirloom Nativity Sampler by the Victoria Sampler, and I want to start the Falling Leaves pattern. I want to start the Twisted Band Sampler. I need to work on my December Joyful World. I want to put a couple stitches into Stargazer before Stitch Mania. Something I mentioned I was going to put this away during one of the interruptions I have had. This is one of the little fabric holders that Shelly Key X Stitch brought to me when we visited like a month or two ago. When she came to visit me, she brought some of these with her. She's like, I know somebody who uses these, so here it is. I had somewhere to put my Stargazer fabric. So thank you, Shelly. So I think that's everything that I needed to say. Hopefully we'll get back to Royal Holiday soon. I will be able to share my secret stitch with you once it is gifted. And I think that's everything. So, Jessie Marie, I just finished her 2-hour video this morning. She was saying she was wanting to build the Make Starts special again by making them more rare, I guess. And she's developed some rules for herself of what she needs to finish before she can make new starts. For me, I am developing plenty of anticipation in my new starts because of all of these deadlines that I have on myself right now. So I'm hoping I'll get a few finishes in the next few weeks and can start a few things, because that's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to some of these new starts, but I'm also enjoying the finishing. So you can only do you know, as much as you can do. So anyways, it's been fun stitching. I hope you guys are enjoying your stitching too. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Talk to you later. Happy stitching.